Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna aunty, કેમ છો?
હરે કૃષ્ણ.
મજામાં કેમ છો તમે બધા?
એમને અડધો કલાક પછી ફોન ગરમ થઈ જાય છે.
કેવો ફોન?
એમનો ફોન
મારો ફોન જ એકદમ ગરમ થઈ જાય છે.
તો
એટલે નીકળી જાય છે.
તો
મને
પછી તમે લેપટોપ ઉપર કરો. તમારી પાસે લેપટોપ
હરે
છે?
કૃષ્ણ. ના લેપટોપ આપી દીધું છોકરાઓને.
Very good.
ખાવાનું હતું ખબર નથી. એકવાર મેસેજ આવેલો પણ બીજું ઝૂમ કરું છું ને એમાં નથી થતું ગરમ. Anyway, we'll talk later.
હરે કૃષ્ણ માતાજી.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Anilbhai.
હરી બોલ.
હરી બોલ.
હરે કૃષ્ણ ભાઈ.
Hare Krishna.
How's everyone doing? Everything okay?
હરે કૃષ્ણ પ્રભુ.
Hari Bol, Asapram Prabhu.
હરે 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 બોલ.
How is your week going?
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
હરે કૃષ્ણ.
હરે કૃષ્ણ પ્રભુ.
Hari Bol, Jagannath Prabhu. So happy to see Sanjay helping out with the dishes.
No.
Yes.
So sweet.
It's on Facebook. It's really cute.
No, I'm
No, I don't know.
okay.
Sanjay.
Yeah, Sanjay is very good. Good boy.
Very nice. Very proud of him.
I think.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hari Bol, Anandas Mataji. And Pavitra Mataji also joined. Hare Krishna, welcome. You are- Okay, 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Welcome to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3. We are doing part 2 today. So thank you all for joining. Who remembers what we covered the last time? Any points that you remember? About what is chapter 3 about? What is the main topic?
Topic is starts with K.
Yeah, it's one of the 5 topics in Bhagavad Gita, right? Karma is one of them. Okay. And what do you recall about what we discussed? See, in the beginning, Arjuna asked that, look, on one hand, you say the intelligence is better, but on the other hand, you say that I should do my karma. But intelligence seems to be the other thing, opposite of karma. So please clarify. What does Krishna say? Anyone recall?
It says like you can use your intelligence to carry out your responsibilities, your duties, your karma.
Yes,
And-
exactly. You have to combine the intelligence part, intelligence and the gyan and the deeper understanding, and perform your karma with that knowledge. You know. Good.
20. I think we did up to verse 20, right?
Yeah, around around 20. That's right. Up to 20, correct. Up to 18 to 20 on that point. Anyone else remember anything that we covered last time? As we go more and more, these things are going to be harder to remember because it all sounds like we said the same thing over and over again. But there's some different things that were said. You know.
That subtlety is very hard.
We said about the philosophy.
Yes. What about the philosophy?
He said 2 parts for the you must synthesize 2 parts, the science of philosophy and the practically of action.
Yes, yes. The 2 paths, you bring them together, you synthesize.
Yes.
And then Arjuna asked, what about those people who give up this karma and they just move to the forest or live in the caves? What about them? What does Krishna say?
Is it not that you don't need to give up your job, but you need to be detached from the you all the time actually working, say all the time surrender to him that whatever I do is because of you. Is that the idea?
Now, what does he say about those people who go away in the forest? What about them?
Some of them are pretenders.
Pretend.
Yes.
The many of them are pretenders. He says that what's the point of going to the forest if your mind is still going to dwell in the sense gratification? That is called mithyachara, you know. And so you'll end up being a pretender if you try to do that. So don't do it. It's not the path for the majority of people.
Correct. So it just like have be detached from the situation, but still have the attachment of the happenings and have your awareness present in that.
Yeah, no, exactly. You be detached from the situation, but you don't be attached to anything. You do it for the sake of doing it and for the sake of purpose, higher duty, not selfishly. If you do it selfishly, then you get caught up with it. Then you're attached. If you do it selfishly, you're not attached. All right. Okay. Good. So that's pretty much summarizes what we did the last time. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Okay. So Bhagavad Gita Simplified, this is chapter 3. So I'm going to zoom through the first few slides just so it kind of summarizes what we did. Okay, so Arjuna has asked, you said intelligence is more important than action, but you're telling me I should do action, so which is better? I'm confused. He says, no, you have to combine the two. You synthesize the two paths, the philosophy and the action. So Arjuna says, why combine them if philosophy is better? So then Krishna says, Arjuna, look, to completely dedicate yourself to philosophy, you have to actually put it to practice. You cannot really understand the philosophy unless you apply it in life. Besides, it's impossible to stop working and stop doing. Every moment you're doing some work. So you will be forced to do some work. So Arjuna asks, what about these hermits who live in the caves? And Krishna says, look, these are pretenders. You know, they are on the surface, they may seem that they are not doing anything, but deep inside, they are very active in their mind, trying to artificially repress their mind from the objects of sense gratification. So that's called mithyachara. So Arjuna says, how can I avoid being a mithyachara, being a pretender? And Krishna says, look, you have to control the senses by freeing your mind first from the concept of selfishness. And that can only happen when you use your senses intelligently. So first understand what should be done and then do it. It's much better than giving up the world. So Arjuna asks, okay, then how can I use the senses intelligently unless first I develop intelligence? I learn the philosophy. And Krishna says, yes, at first you borrow the philosophy. You understand from the scriptures what's to be done, what's not to be done, and you follow your duty responsibly. That is the start of intelligent action. And it's better than stopping your activities. Okay? You need to work anyway to keep your body together, body and soul together. So Arjuna says, but this action will make me bound up, it causes a bondage. Krishna says, Yagyarthat karmanonyatra, do it for the sake of sacrifice, for the sake of yagya, for the sake of Vishnu. So you can see here, Vishnu's picture is here. Do it for Krishna, do it for Vishnu as a sacrifice. And then Arjuna says, yes, but even if I work selflessly, what happens? Some results will come, right? Doing sacrifice, actually you end up with all kinds of fruits that come from above. And Krishna says, that's fine. These fruits that come from above, this is the system of how the world is maintained. These are very wholesome, these are very pure. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. You know, the demigods have been set up to do this, to provide you with all the rain and the grains and everything, all these nutrients. This is all Vedic. It comes from spiritual sound waves and is part of the whole system of sacrifice. If you follow this, you will prosper materially and also you'll make spiritual progress. Okay, Arjun says, is it righteous then? Is it good to be happy and healthy as a natural side effect of doing my duty? He said, yes, of course, that is the whole point of that, happy and healthy. But don't do this as its main goal. See, otherwise it becomes dangerous and degrading. You end up going in the wrong direction. It can entice you to move in the wrong direction, and then you end up becoming meaninglessly intoxicated by sense pleasure. Nothing wrong with what happens out of sacrifice, but don't make that your main goal or your purpose for sacrifice. So Arjuna says, but what if I do my duty for that main purpose? What will happen? And Krishna says, that's also not so bad, but it won't help you progress spiritually. You can do much better. Your happiness should come from within, not from the fruits that come from outside. Actually, in your own soul, there's a huge well of happiness. So you find the delight from within, from actual spiritual platform that's within. You'll be sustained. You won't have any real ulterior motive for doing or not doing anything. You should strive for this, that whatever happens on the outside doesn't matter, good or bad, labha, labha, jaya, jaya, profit or loss, because the actual happiness is coming from the spiritual well that's in your heart. So strive for this sort of detached but active life that is full of, that's fulfilling your responsibility. To work without personal attachment, that is how you can make spiritual progress, a catalyst for spiritual evolution. Okay, so we kind of ended over here the last time. And Arjuna asks, okay, if a person is already spiritually advanced, he's already very advanced spiritually, evolved, would they still carefully perform their duties and fulfill their worldly responsibilities? What that means is if a person is very successfully connecting to the spiritual well in the heart, he's finding immense bliss from spiritual activities. And he realizes that he really doesn't need to do anything anymore. And it's a fact. He can actually go on living very, very simply without having to do any kind of other duties or business or Kshatriya Dharma or Vaishya Dharma, Brahman Dharma. He can just continue enjoying spiritual life. So that kind of person, do they still go about their duties and fulfilling their worldly responsibilities? They've already reached a spiritual platform. So Krishna says, they don't have to. And it's true. They're completely self-sustaining. When you reach a level of spiritual advancement, you don't have to do any work. And it doesn't matter whether he does work also. To that person, it doesn't matter. They don't have to. But in most cases, they would. Why? Why would they? Yeah. Why would a purified and self-satisfied person take the trouble of doing any deeds at all, even moral and responsible ones? Even if it's completely in line with his duties, his training, his responsibility. If he's fully self-satisfied and purified, what is the point? Because it is troublesome to go through this, manage, maintain. Sometimes things go up and down. What's the point? So Krishna says, for the sake of illustrating the right path for others to follow. Setting example, right? Whatever great people do, common people imitate. Yad yad acharati sheshthas tat tat evetaro jana. So whatever, yes, sat pramanam kuruti, lokas tad anuvartate. So whatever examples they set, the whole world adopts. So if you're fully self-realized, still you do it because people will see you as a great person. They'll see you as a successful spiritualist. And look, he's also doing work. He's also doing the responsibilities. And then he gives an example. Knowing this, many kings like King Janak attained perfection, yet still adhere to the yoga of duty. King Janak was very advanced. King Janak is who, He's the father of Sita Devi. You can see here King Janak is giving away his daughter Sita to Lord Ram. Janak was one of the greatest devotees of the Lord of his time. In fact, he's listed among the 12 great Mahajans in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Janaka. So even though he was a purified and fully independent, great devotee of the Lord, still he continued being a king, doing his duties as a king, because he has to set an example for others. So you should do the same and set the right example for all your citizens and admirers. Because remember, everyone has some sphere of influence. Some people are very popular, the celebrities, people read about them, they try to emulate them, they try to imitate them. They learn about what books their idols are reading, what movies they watch, what they prefer to eat, and they try to be like them in many ways. They learn about their daily activities and who they're going out with and who they got married with and what the children look like. And there's magazines and magazines printed for the celebrities to follow them. Because people who are prominent and influential, people, many other people look at them as role models. So Arjuna, you're a prominent person. You're a pure devotee. You don't need to actually fight. But for the sake of setting the right example, you do it. You set the example, so then those others who are not fully purified, they can take this path of gradual purification through the process of karma and combining karma with intelligent understanding and philosophy. So do it to set an example. Who else is another example other than Janak? Me. Look at me. You can also take me as an example. I have no motive. I have no emptiness to fulfill, no goal unattained, no debt to repay to anyone in all the three worlds. I'm independent. I'm the Supreme Lord, the King of Dwarka. The whole world worships me. Yet still I responsibly perform all my duties with great care. The duties of a son, the duties of a husband, the duties of a king towards all my citizens. So many things I'm doing. I'm doing it with great care. Never will I do anything adharmic. Why? Because if I didn't set an example, all of humanity would follow suit. Civilization would fall apart, replaced by calamity and confusion. See, so I am very prominent and people look at me. So I'm following my dharma. Okay, so then Arjuna goes on to ask, so the wise and the foolish both engage in worldly deeds? Yes, Krishna says. They do. They'll both work hard, but with different motivations. They look like superficial, look like they're both doing the same thing. See, these two guys are working really hard. But one is wise and one is foolish, but still they're both doing work. But the motivations are different. Ignorant people work hard because they're driven by selfish motivations, and wise people work hard for the well-being of the world. How? One, they contribute to society by doing their duty. Two, they cultivate Krishna consciousness and spiritual life. And three, they set an example to those who are very selfish, but they see that the guy who's working next to them, he's also working, but he seems less selfish. He seems much nicer, much happier. How is that? He's also working, I'm also working. We're both doing the same job. How come? What is there's something special about him. So the wise person sets an example. And by being in society, they can influence others to also gradually elevate them. So the motivation of the selfless person and the motivation of the selfish person are very different. They will do the same kind of work, but they'll do it for different goals. But it's still important for the selfless person to continue working to help those who are selfish. So then Arjuna says, okay, instead of doing that, why don't you just have classes? Just sit down with all the foolish people and teach them philosophy. Just sit under a tree like this sadhu is doing. Every evening, everybody get together, 2 hours, you learn Bhagavad Gita. Every evening you learn Upanishad, you understand philosophy. I'm not the body, I'm the soul. You must do this. Why don't you just teach philosophy? Why do you need to actually go and actually do the work? Krishna says, how will a fool understand philosophy? The wise know better than to confuse them with impractical theories and concepts. Instead, they set an example that encourages people to pursue their precious desires in a more moral, beautiful, and spiritually progressive way. You see, these abstract concepts of philosophy are only attractive to a very small percentage of people. The majority of people need an example to see in front of them. They need someone with them day in, day out, showing the advantages and disadvantages of positive and spiritual lifestyle, and the disadvantages of turning away from spirituality. They need to see that day in, day out. They need to see many examples. They need to see people they can relate to. They need to see someone who's having the same kind of problems that they do. We have problems in the home, we have problems in finance, we have problems in career, we have problems in health. Well, I also have the same problems, but still, I'm also pursuing spiritual life. So for the majority of people, you cannot have them come to classes. There's no interest, first of all. You'll advertise everything, you'll send emails, you advertise on Facebook, you call them personally, they'll say, yeah, I'll come. And then you come for class and nobody shows up. Nobody cares for these classes. Okay. Best is to work alongside with them and be an example and influence people that way. That's the proper way of doing your karma yoga. So even when you have graduated, in the sense that even when you have reached the spiritual platform fully and you realize you don't need to do this, you still should do it. That's the point. Okay. So then what is the difference? What is the main difference between the worldly deeds of a fool, the materialist, and the worldly deeds of the wise or the spiritualist or the advanced person? What's the difference?
Consciousness.
Ahankara. Yeah, consciousness. Consciousness is key. The fool is thinking, I did this. Right? Ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Yes. See? So the vimuda atma, the fool, muda means fool. That person, he thinks that, look, I did this. I am doing this. It is my action. I studied very hard in school. I got the best grades. It is my intelligence, my strength. I got into this best job. It is my effort. It is my charm. It is my skills of talking. It is my skills of solving problems. And it is my good looks that got me so many things. It is me. I am doing this. So whatever comes out of this work and this job and this career and the business, that result is mine to enjoy because I did this. So this is called ahankar. Aham means me and kar means to keep saying, it's me, it's me, it's me, ahankar. Ahankara vimudatma, kartaham, I am the karta, I am the doer. However, the truth is that everything he does is part of a very complex chain of cause and effect. In one sense, it is true that whatever he's enjoying, it is a fruit of whatever past karma he may have done in this past life. But the problem with this ahankara is that he thinks that what he's getting now is because of his hard work now. That is not a fact. It's very, very complicated, because if that were the fact, then everybody who works hard will make a lot of money. That's not true. Everybody who gets top class grades will be very successful materially. That's not true. There are people who are successful, become billionaires, but they don't even finish high school. And there are others who have got 5 PhDs and they're broke. See, so it doesn't add up always. The truth is, it's a very complex chain of cause and effect. So wise people, they understand that the relationship between cause and effect is there, called karmic system. And so they don't personally become wrapped up in their actions. They don't say, I did this, I did this. No, whatever happens is a result of whatever past karma. It's a mercy of the Lord, doesn't matter. I'm not going to take credit for anything ultimately. They don't get too wrapped up because they know better. They know it's much deeper than this. Okay. So the knowledge of selfish fools is quite incomplete. Why? Because they only see this one lifetime and they have very little interest in changing that. Therefore, it's very hard to sit down and teach philosophy to these people. Knowing this, the wise do not unnecessarily upset them with philosophy. First, they won't understand. Second, their ego will be shaken. It's ahankara vimudatma. I did this, I did this. See, this guy is holding this and he's saying, it's me, it's me. That will be very difficult to shake off from somebody. It makes them upset. So don't disturb them. Because Arjuna said, when these fools, is there no hope for them? Can they actually become wise? Yes, it is possible, but you have to make a serious effort. If I realize I'm a fool, I'm very selfish, and I have to, but I want something higher, then I have to make a very tangible, solid effort to pull myself out of this cesspool of foolishness. How? Be spiritually aware. Spiritually aware means understand you're not the body or the soul. and renounce all implication in activity by doing your duty only for my sake. So this is one point. Understand you're not the body, you're the soul. And work only for me. Give up your personal ambition. Have no personal ambition in your deeds. No sense of entitlement to the results. We talked about that in second chapter, right? Karmanyavadhikaraste. You're not entitled to the results. When you understand these 2-3 points, doing work for Krishna, you are the soul, not the body. You understand spiritual awareness. You don't have personal selfish ambitions. You don't have entitlement to the results. Then gradually what happens, this combination and situation and effort will generate knowledge in your heart. This is a prerequisite to actually get what is called spiritual understanding, spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge doesn't just mean memorizing verses. Spiritual knowledge means a sense of understanding of what things are, what things are not. You actually see things for what they are. But that vision only comes when you put in this effort of working for Krishna and giving up personal ambition. So he's saying, throw off your feebleness, your weakness, Arjuna, and do your duty in this enlightening state of mind and fight. All right. So I'm going to stop over here. We are on 31. We'll stop over here until 31. I will continue. We'll finish the chapter next time. All right. So I'm going to unmute. You can unmute yourself if you have any questions or comments.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
So the ahankar, right? You explained it very nicely. When we are talking to devotees, we know, we can say that, if we did something and we can say, oh, it's because of Krishna's mercy. But when we are actually at work, right? And if we are appreciated for something, how can we respond back in context to this?
Yeah, so at work, people don't understand this higher philosophy. And at work, if they tell you that, hey, Amita, you did an incredible job this last month, and you're really, really very good at what you did. You're not going to say, oh, actually, it's not me, but it's the mercy of my Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. And, you're not going to say that. They're like, what are you talking about? You're not going to say that, right? You'll say that, you just say thank you. But in your heart, you will know that everything I've received in this life is nothing but a causeless mercy gift of the Lord. Everything I've received. If we lower our expectations and we always recognize that everything that has come to me is the mercy of the Lord, and the fact that I can even breathe, my next breath is the mercy of the Lord. Knowing my personal tendencies, I know I probably don't deserve this, but still Krishna has been so kind, he's been helping me out. I don't deserve all these nice things Krishna has given me. But still, Krishna keeps giving me, he keeps me alive, he keeps giving me opportunities to serve him, he keeps me on my toes. Sometimes he makes things a little bit difficult, so keeps me on my toes. At the same time, not too much that he completely breaks me. All these things, we can appreciate everything that happens. Good things and bad things, because we know only good things are not going to happen, right? Sometimes uncomfortable things also happen. So if you always see the Lord's hand, then we can process it better and we can use it to move forward.
Yeah, thank you. And Prabhuji, with ahankar, all the other things also come, right? Like anger, lust, like so many other things, right? Because once you are like, so you think that you are the doer and you are so proud of your actions, if somebody does or says something, you get angry or you're like, no, I like that also comes, right?
Correct. You're right. Ahankar is the root of many of these. In fact, it is the chief cause of most of our problems, like anger, greed, and those kind of things. We'll learn about this concept of ahankar much more as we go along in Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Any other?
I have a quick question. Being spiritual also leads to ahankar because of the path that you follow, or particular acceptance that you've imbibed in your day-to-day living, also is a cause of ahankar.
Yes,
How do
it
you
could be.
distinguish that?
It could be. That's a very good point, very subtle point, and very deep point. It could, because this is very, yeah, and we see it happen also. It's a fairly common phenomenon. That spirituality, spiritual process, whichever it is, and certainly in Krishna consciousness also, it does give you results. You do feel much happier. You feel immediate relief. Oh my God, I can't believe this is such an awesome process, especially when we first come into it. You know, this is great. I mean, my questions get answered so nicely. The whole process is so beautiful, and the pictures are so nice, and the philosophy is so compelling, and the people are so nice. And when I go, and the prasadam is incredible, and the experience of the arti and the kirtans is so uplifting and refreshing. All these things are there, right? So this is, I feel very happy and relieved immediately. Then after some time, I think that I'm very entitled, or I think that, yes, I am lucky, and look at that poor Slav. You know, he's not Krishna conscious, and there's no chance in this life he's going to make it. And there's zero chance he's going to be Krishna conscious in this life. I'm so great, he's so fallen. He's so fallen. I don't do any sins, and his life he's doing every kind of sin every single day. So then that is a misapplication of understanding, because now we are using our Krishna consciousness to do the opposite effect of what Krishna consciousness should do. Krishna consciousness should make us more humble and more compassionate. But what happens, because we come from a background that is so used to looking down upon people, and we make us feel good when we see ourselves as higher and others lower. So that bad habit of seeing ourselves higher and others lower can creep in even through this process of when we start making progress in anything in Krishna consciousness also. So this is a contaminated stage of Krishna consciousness. So you're right, or any spiritual path, that contamination will be carrying at different levels of our growth. So in Krishna consciousness, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, if you want to chant Hare Krishna, to actually effectively chant Hare Krishna, you must be more humble than the grass in the street, and more tolerant than the tree. You know, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Then you can do Kirtaniya Sadahari. That's the only way you can actually make progress in this science of Kirtan, science of chanting Hare Krishna, being humble. So instead of seeing the other person as fallen and myself as so great, we can try to help the other person whatever way possible. Give them some prasadam, be nice to them instead of being mean to them. And then also see that maybe, 2 years ago, I was more fallen than that guy. It's just by the mercy of the Lord that somehow I've managed to clean up a few things, and I managed to learn this path and chant Hare Krishna. But, I wasn't very good in the past. And everybody comes with their own past. Every saint has a very difficult history, and every sinner has a very bright future. So we can't say that this is a sinner and this is a saint. Best is to not make this kind of judgments. Best is to work on ourselves, try to be more humble, and dismantle our own ahankara in the process. At the same time, work hard to help others. Work hard to make Krishna consciousness available to others, to open up, free some of your time to share Krishna consciousness with others. Support other people who are putting their effort in Krishna consciousness. For example, Prabhupada, his main method was books, and that made so many people devotees and helped their lives. So then many other supporters, they didn't want to be devotees, but they gave a lot of support to the book distribution process. They would pay for his printing, they would finance some of his other building temples, and some people, they didn't have money, but they worked very hard to support the cause, and so on. So all of them got uplifted. So this working for Krishna also gradually releases us from our ahankara, because we learn to appreciate everything and give the credit to Krishna. So yeah, it's a good point. The ahankara can creep in, even riding on the wave of Krishna consciousness. It can enter our heart. Good point, Prabhu. Is that okay? Does that address your?
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
Thank you. It's a good one. Anyone? Yes.
Yeah, Prabhuji, if you're hurt by somebody action, or if you feel, somebody depress you, so how it's work there?
Hurt by someone's
if you're
action.
hurting you or depressing you, so how the Krishna conscious will help you, like like how you answer it and how you do cope up with that.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to answer this question?
I must say this is a very practical question, just like the previous question we had from Minash Prabhu. This is a very practical question which we will encounter day to day. And yes, people do hurt us and people may bring our mood down up to a certain extent. But again, the practice of Krishna consciousness that includes chanting, reading, keeping ourselves occupied, and also to understand the first and foremost thing Srila Prabhupada taught us, that we are not this body, we are the spirit, soul. So things do get creeped up, people do come up with some topics and harsh words that can really pierce your heart. It's said that words are much more sharper than the edge of this sword. So understanding that this is just temporary and it shall pass too, and also not to get shaken up by all those things. Mother's Daddy, you want to add something?
Yeah.
Because usually we overcome by these things, as you told us, but if I don't want to keep anything negative about the other person, so how we can do that? Like,
Yeah, that's a good. First of all, it's very good that you are aware of the importance of not maintaining negative ill feelings toward anybody, even if they've hurt you directly, right? If someone has hurt me,
yes,
naturally the tendency is to remember, मैं ये कभी नहीं भूलूंगा. I mean, I'm never going to forget what you did to me. That's the tendency. Not only that, we take pride in doing that also.
Holding on to
We'll take pride, we'll tell others, that guy did this to me, just watch, I will never forget. You remember, mark my words, I will never forget. We take pride in doing that. It's not a good thing. Why? Because it hurts. Anger is like holding anger towards somebody is like holding on to hot, glowing charcoal, glowing coals, You're only burning yourself. You're holding on to it. That anger is burning you only. It doesn't help your situation. It doesn't help the other person. It doesn't help the relationship. So Krishna consciousness, understanding this philosophy and understanding the higher nature of things, gives us the right perspective on which to see things. It allows us to separate ourselves from the situation and look at it as if you're a third person looking at the situation. That, okay, so Monica, you step away from yourself and you look at your own self. There's Monica, and then there's this other person who has hurt Monica. This person said this, and Monica is very hurt. But now, from the neutral perspective, from a higher perspective, you understand that there's one conditioned soul. Conditioned soul means he's trapped also by his ahankara, vimuratma, that I am doing this. And he doesn't understand the importance of not hurting others. Maybe he has some other issues in his family or in his background, whatever, that he's taking out his anger on me. It's coming out completely wrong. I know I didn't do anything wrong to that person. I know, technically speaking, I don't deserve to be hurt by this. But somehow he's saying these things, he's doing these things, and it is hurting my heart. So I will accept that. I'll try to tolerate as much as possible. And we have to learn to deal with things in a mode of goodness. There are 3 ways we can deal with any situation: mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Okay, so mode of ignorance is, I'll just punch the guy and walk away. Never do I want to see him again. Even if he's been my friend for 20 years. From now on, I'm not. Completely destroy the relationship, completely destroy everything, and make it and completely act on the anger. So that is mode of ignorance. Mode of passion will mean I won't punch the guy, but I'll still be angry. I'll walk away and I'll talk bad about him behind his back. And I'll try to maintain some kind of friendship, but it won't be a real friendship. It'll be like a backstabbing kind of friendship. Mode of passion. Mode of goodness means, okay, look, what you said, first let's sit down for half an hour, okay? What you said to me has been very hurtful, but I understand why you said it. Or I don't understand, but do you mind telling me what happened? Because maybe I didn't mean to hurt you. You feel that I meant to hurt you. You have a grown-up calm conversation with the aim to preserve the relationship, maybe even deepen the relationship, and it's an opportunity. Now, this kind of thing doesn't always work. Sometimes the proper mode of goodness thing would be to walk away from the situation. If the situation is abusive and the person, there's no hope for that person.
And the abuse are of different kinds.
Yeah. And sometimes maintaining the relationship could actually end up getting people killed. So we have to have that. The mode of goodness also means you have the right judgment to know when to walk away from it, when to try to heal it.
When to distance yourself
Yes.
from it.
When to distance yourself or when to try to heal it. That maturity comes when we cultivate mode of goodness. But there is no silver bullet or a single answer to this question, because this question is very wide. Someone hurt me. What does that mean? How did they hurt you? What is the background?
The degree.
What is their motivation? What is the possibility of that person to improve? Is that person generally a good person? Is that person going to murder me if I go near him again? I mean, these are so many questions that come, right? You follow? It's not a one answer to this situation, because
it's a very deep question, which is only understood little bit more by this specific situation. However, that being said, what we need to do, our duty on our part, is very clear and set. Like Prabhuji explained, right? Certain things to do, certain things to avoid, what we should think. In any situation, we don't need to feel or think ill about the opposite person. It's just not worth it.
So like our action count in karma, our intentions count in karmas, but our energies, like we create the negative energy. Like if somebody did something, like I told you, I don't want to feel negative. If I feel, that is also count in karma, right?
Yes, because when you keep feeling, when you keep thinking in the negative way, then eventually the thought may not generate the bad karma, but the thought may determine how you will act next time. If you have generated positive energy and forgiveness, then next time something like that happens, maybe from the same person as another person, your response and action will be different. So what energies you cultivate, you dwell on, you develop, hold on to, those energies or those thought processes will determine your next time, how your outcome next time. That's what
it is said, right? That what you think, you will perceive. What you perceive, you will believe. And what you believe, you will act on.
You'll act on it. And action is where it counts.
So that's the whole process that generates from the mind, but it takes the form of reality as it progresses. Thought, then perceiving it, then believing it, that what I have created, what my thought is, it's actual reality. And after that, the mind body will start making it happen. Like
that is a belief system.
Into action.
Works. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, now I understand. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you. That's a big question, but it's a very good one. Padma Mataji, go ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji, I think the topic today gave me some answers, connecting back to the previous session. I'm so sorry, 1 second.
All right.
And also, the previous session's question answer is also the previous question from the Mataji before me. Basically, what we're trying to say is that, yes, one, it is, it is important that you identify negatives and you stay away from, other people doing bad to you. And the other part is that, we identify our own ahankara and we stay humble, right? This is actually a fine balance. Most often, we only look at the other side, like what others are doing bad to us. We never look at what, we do. Intentionally, unintentionally also, we might be hurting other people. So I was just, this whole conversation just reminds me of an incident that happened like ages back in my first few years of marriage. I was having an argument with my mother-in-law. She was laughing. She said, I have to hear, I was asking her, why you're laughing at me? And I was angry. She was saying that because it's my karma that I have to listen to this from you, right? So I'm laughing. I know this is something that I have to go through. So you say whatever you want to say, please go on saying. This whole thing at, now when I look back at it, it is, really funny, but that time I was so angry, when this was happening. So I'm just thinking, like, if I have to put myself in that position when somebody is being bad to me and learn to laugh like that, probably I would do better for myself, and better for the other person as well. Like, you can't go on shouting at a person who's laughing at you, right?
Yeah, very good point. It shows the effect of understanding the karmic cycle. That look, I must have done something very bad in my life, and this is why you are really hurting me so much. And in that scenario, in the middle of this, if I can keep my cool and not just that, but smile in the face of it, that shows a level of understanding. I deserve this, whatever. In fact, I deserve much more worse than this. Somehow Krishna is so kind, he's only given me this much. That's the devotees, we train ourselves to think like that. We train ourselves to think like that, that look, I'm chanting Krishna's name. I may not be the best devotee, but somehow Krishna has given me the process and the understanding that he is God. So today, all the suffering that is happening to me, this is much less than what I actually deserve. This is because Krishna's mercy. If I cut a small paper cut on my finger, I'll say, oh, Krishna is so kind. Actually, I deserve to have my neck cut that day. But Krishna, you saved my life. You only gave me paper cut. My karmic reaction is there, but you've brought it down by 99%. So thank you. Then this is a way to leverage good things. Conscious devotee doesn't let any chance go without thanking the Lord. Someone is shouting at me and almost strangling me and he wants to kill me. I thank the Lord. Someone is insulting me. I thank the Lord. I mean, this is those who are, when we practice this, that's how we should do.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll give you an example before we wrap up. Stock market. In stock market, you make profit by buying at a low price, the stock, and selling at a high price. Now, sometimes when the stock falls, you can also make money by doing what is called short selling. Short selling is a process where you can have a position in the stock market. When the market goes down, you make money, but you have to time it right. So when it's going up, you buy, and then when it's about to go down, you do short sales. So you're constantly making money if you position it right. So even if the market has gone up, down, up, down, up, down, your balance should just go up, 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 up. How to do that? Because you're smart. You know how to time it. When it's going down, you do short sell. When it's going up, you do buy. What does that do with Krishna consciousness? In Krishna consciousness, if something very nice happens to you, you thank the Lord. My Lord, He's so kind. Now I can serve you more comfortably or something. I can buy this for you. And then something bad happens, you are doing a short sell. My Lord, you're so kind. It could have been so much worse. So I'm now even getting excited when other people will be crying. To see the good in something that looks bad, because ultimately everything is the Lord's mercy. The more advanced a person is, the more they can leverage that up and down and constantly make profit. What is the profit? Profit means deeper appreciation for Krishna, a deeper love for Krishna, a deeper gratitude for Krishna. That is our profit. And if at the end of life, that bank balance is very, very high, then that becomes our ticket to go to the Lord. Otherwise, what happens when life goes down, we can start being angry to the Lord and hating the Lord. Then our balance goes down, you see? And that's not a good sign. It's all about the attitude. Yeah, Priya is saying attitude of gratitude. Gratitude is the attitude, right? Gita, Gita. Gratitude is the attitude, Gita. Thank you, Priya. Any other questions or comments? We can wrap up. I think we're good. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining today's class. Next time on Thursday, we shall continue. So the homework for Thursday is complete reading the chapter that we're studying, chapter 3. Finish reading chapter 3. And if you have any questions while you're reading, please write them down and share them and discuss them next time. So next time we'll complete chapter 3, and then if there's enough time, we'll recap the whole chapter. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Bol, Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna.
Uh,
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya Mataji. Thank you, Advait.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hemi Foy.
Thank you.
Hi, Dwight.
Mataji.
Thank
Ashapram
you.
Prabhu, thank you.
Again?
Vivian Mataji.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Oh,
Hari Bol.
Hare Bol.
so, some announcements.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so tomorrow is a very auspicious day. It is
Narasimha
Nrsimhadev Chaturdashi, Nrsimha Chaturdashi, which is the appearance day of Lord Nrsimhadev. He came out of the pillar and he saved his great devotee Prahlad Maharaj and he destroyed the demon Hiranyakashipu. That happens tomorrow. So how we observe is you can do some fasting, you can chant Hare Krishna. So fasting is done until noontime. Until sunset time, not dawn, dusk, sunset time. Sunset time. Okay, and we observe it by chanting Hare Krishna and
We can do that tomorrow.
Nrsimhadev prayers. If you don't know Nrsimhadev prayers, you can learn them. Namaste Narasimhaya, you can search it, Nrsimhadev prayers. We've sung it in Bhakti Vriksh many times. And you can read about Lord Nrsimhadev in Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you don't have Srimad Bhagavatam, you can find it on vedabase.com. Vedabase.com, Srimad Bhagavatam is there. The 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Nrsimhadev is there.
Which canto?
7th.
Seven.
7th canto. 7th canto is all about Nrsimhadev. All right. So read about Lord Nrsimhadev, think about his beautiful pastimes, chant Hare Krishna, and if possible, you can offer a little offering to Lord Nrsimhadev. You can cook something for him in the evening. All right. That is tomorrow, which is Wednesday, and then Thursday we'll continue our class. And then
We break our fast by Ekadashi Prasadam.
yes, with the Ekadashi Prasadam
Tomorrow
evening.
But however, and as much as we can do, not so compulsion or, however the situation is. But most important for the Lord.
And in particular, Lord Nrsimhadev's avatar comes to protect his devotees. Of course, it's times of crisis, we need all the protection we can get. So it's definitely a good time to observe this festival. So that is tomorrow. And then anything else? Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday we'll have an informal meetup and catch-up session.
Also on
That's what we
Saturday,
did last time.
Saturday morning, 11 a.m., a special treat. His Holiness Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj will be speaking on our Zoom channel. On our, if you have the Zoom channel, right? If not, share it. Not this Zoom channel, but and the main temple one. And Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj is one of the Srila Prabhupada's oldest disciples, earliest disciples.
And he's Prabhuji's Guru
And
Maharaj.
he's my own Guru Maharaj also.
Yeah.
And he's written Srila Prabhupada's official biography, Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. And he has written almost 200 books on Krishna consciousness, a lot. He's a very prolific writer. He's also Guru in ISKCON. In fact, he joined ISKCON before ISKCON was even formed.
So he's about 80 years old and he does not come to a public platform to give a class, but out of his own kind mercy and love for Madanagopala Prabhu, he agreed to come and bless us in these times. But he's only going to be short and he's only there for half an hour. So I wish and I pray everybody gets a chance to see him and hear him and get the blessings.
It's 11 a.m. on Saturday. If you can join, you please. Yeah, Arjun also there. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, boys.
I want to thank Munna.
Thank you,
They
Mona.
did the 2 days.
2 days, what?
They did Ekadashi 2 days.
Oh,
Hare Bol.
Oh my God.
I'm so
wonderful.
proud of these two boys.
That's
They did
wonderful.
Ekadashi. First Ekadashi, right?
Yes.
Excellent,
Amazing.
excellent. Good
Yeah,
job.
they did
Good
it.
job, Faith.
Wow, good job. Good job, good job.
Thank you all for coming. And we will see you again on Thursday. Please try to finish reading the chapter number Three. Right?
Hare Krishna.
And chant
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Ki jai.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Good. Bye bye.
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 Bye, Aryan Arjun. Sweet, sweet, sweet.
Bye, Sanjay. Bye, Vivian.
Say bye.
Bye, Sanjay.
Bye.
Bye, Prabhu. Hari Bol.